Sorry to leave you guys hanging, but I'm back. Let's talk about where I've been. What's up, fellow plant enthusiasts? My name is Dylan and this is Bane's Botanicals, and today we're going to talk about where I've been the last month, and we'll talk about some other things too. But I hope everybody has been doing well. I hope everybody had a great holiday. I think the last time I visited with you guys was probably in November, and it's been kind of a whirlwind the past about month and a half, but it's been fun. As you guys can probably notice, this is a different setting here. We actually bought a new house, and it was kind of an impulse thing. I mean, it was planned and everything, but it was a little bit off the cuff, I guess. We were riding around on our bikes one day and saw a house that we kind of liked, and we had talked about moving eventually anyway, and ended up getting hooked up with a realtor and looked at a few houses, and this is the one we ended up going with. So I spent most of November packing, and then I spent most of December until Christmas actually moving, and luckily we're in the same city, so that's good. We didn't have to like completely relocate, but it was a lot. The thing is, you don't really know how much stuff you have until you have to pack it all into boxes. And I guess I didn't realize how much we had managed to accumulate. So, and moving the plants was also not super fun because it's December and you got to be careful when you've got plants out in the cold and everything. So on top of that, I probably haven't told you guys this yet, but I actually have ulcerative colitis. And the short version of what that is basically your immune system attacks part of your large intestine, and it can create things like ulcers, which can be kind of painful. But I had been in remission for about a year, but with the disease, there are things called flare-ups that happen. Hopefully not too often, but it does happen, and I'm having my first one. So I'm working on getting it back in check. But yeah, so that was kind of a bit of a setback that was not very motivating for making videos, but it's fine. What do we want to talk about today? A couple things. So I actually learned quite a bit about houseplant neglect during this move. And what I mean by that is my plants were one of the last things that I brought over. Like, we got all of our furniture and all of our other belongings and everything. And because of the weather and because we don't really have like big vehicles, the plants were just one of the last things we did. And so I wasn't spending a lot of time at the old house, and my plants were getting neglected as a result. They were still getting light because my lights were on a timer, but water is a little bit of a different story. And I lost a few plants, not too many. I still have most of the ones you guys have seen. They're actually off screen in kind of a little breakfast nook area, which I will show you guys at some point. But I can tell you from experience now which plants can hold up the best against neglect and which ones can't. A few of the ones that I noticed died for sure would be basically anything in the prayer plant family, like Marantacea. So we're talking Calathea, Gopertia, Stramanthe, Tenanthe, and Maranta. Anything that's considered a prayer plant. Often the term Calathea is overused, of course, but those are the first things to go. They dry up, they have to have humidity, they have to have water, and they will crumble quickly if they don't have that. So even after about a week past when it was probably time to water, they were brown and dead. So, and actually that's not completely true because I do still have my Stramanthe. So of those that I listed, I would say Stramanthe is probably the most hardy because it's the only one that is alive. And it's a smaller plant too. I should have just brought it with me, but it's fine. Plants that were the hardiest would be the ones that we typically associate as being hardy already. So succulents, of course, I don't think I lost a single succulent. I think they all survived. And I've probably got upwards of about 30 different succulents across maybe 26 different genera. So yeah, succulents in general are very hardy. Epiprimnum, obviously, the pothos, those are very hardy. Philodendron, which of course I've got a couple right here, they survived. I mean, a lot of things did survive. So I could list all the things that survived, but we'd be here a while. Those are just the most obvious ones. So another one that didn't survive that I just remembered, ficus. Ficus is another one that if you don't have consistent water, it will die. It'll drop its leaves. And that's funny because the one, I mean, I lost a Ficus benjamina, the weeping fig, but I also lost a rubber plant, a Ficus elastica, which of all the ficuses, those are supposed to be the hardiest, but it just didn't, you don't water it, it's not going to make it. So that was one that I kind of expected. I think there's a category that would be ones that I expected to die that didn't die. They really surprised me. And that's going to be like, I have an asplenium, a bird's nest fern, still alive. It didn't even get brown. It did great. I also have a nephrolepis, which is a Boston fern. They go by other names as well, but nephrolepis, depending on the species, or maybe it's the cultivar. Some of them aren't that hardy, but the one that I have, for some reason, it did okay. So I'm kind of surprised. What else? Oh, palms. I have 1, 2, 3. I had 5 palms and 3 of them survived. And I don't necessarily associate palms with being that hardy. I think of them as being a little more fragile for a couple of reasons. 1, because they get pests, which mine did. And 2, because they do tend to need consistent moisture. Not sopping wet because they can have root rot, but they don't necessarily like to dry out, and they like a lot of humidity. So the fact that they survived is impressive. The 2 that didn't were Chamaedorea, which is like the parlor palm, because it was smaller. I think that's why. And I lost my Dipsis too, which is the Erica palm, I think is what it's called. I have a windmill palm over there, and I also have a fan palm, a Licuala, and those both got heavily infested with spider mites and also scale and mealybugs, all on the same plant. So palms are pretty susceptible to pests, but they're really easy to get rid of if you just kind of shower them and everything, and that's exactly what I did. I sprayed some insecticide on them, like some plant insecticide, and for houseplants, obviously, and gave them a good shower and blasted the heck out of those pests. Because it's funny, they seem to hold on pretty well until you turn your shower faucet on the massage setting, and then they, for some reason, can't hold on anymore. But if you do that, don't like blast the leaves off your plant. I made sure that the pressure was enough that it would get the pests off, but it wouldn't take the leaves with it. So they seem to be doing much better now. I'm glad that they survived, because that Licuala was not cheap. I also have a lady palm, which is a Rhaphis excelsa, I think is the species. It did fine. It didn't even get pests, and it did just fine. So I think of all the palms, we'll do a video on palms eventually, but the Rhaphis survived. I'll get to that. So yeah, if you ever have any questions on things that are hardy and can deal with neglect, like let's say you go on an extended vacation or something, I can tell you because I know from experience. My Aeschynanthus survived. That was kind of surprising because those typically need to be watered. Syndapsis, that was obviously going to make it. Bird of Paradise did just fine. It was a little wilted, but it did fine. Somehow my peace lily, Spathiphyllum, it survived. It was very, very sad looking, but it bounced back. So anyway, this is a longer video than I thought it would be. These are just some recent acquisitions. I wanted to show you guys a few plants, but the one back here is another palm that I got for Christmas. It is a Livistonia. You'll often see these called Chinese fan palms. It is gigantic. I think this might be the biggest plant I've ever owned, probably. Actually, I may have had a Schefflera once that was bigger, but this is pretty big. If I just kind of move a little bit to the side here, it was only like 50 bucks. So I think that's a pretty good deal because palms typically are kind of expensive because they do take a little while to grow. Here I have a Philodendron tortum, which is very unique in terms of philodendrons because it does have almost these skeletal leaves. Like I imagine this is how a leaf would look if you took away everything and just left the veins. But yeah, very, very unique, very almost abstract looking. So we actually got a shipment at Walmart. I was kind of surprised to see these there, and I got pretty lucky. So also in that shipment, we have a Philodendron Ring of Fire. And these are called Ring of Fire because if you can kind of get a look at that leaf, not only is there kind of yellow and white variegation, but there are speckles of orange as well. So that orange and yellow kind of give it its name, Ring of Fire. And I like this not just because of the variegation, but the shape of the leaves, how they're kind of serrated and long and thick like that. I like that. I think that looks good. So far, it's doing pretty well. I had a white knight that did not survive. I had a white knight, and I noticed that it started to get brown around the white edges, like where there would be solid white patches. Those started to get brown, not necessarily from not watering, but just in general. So it kind of turned me off of those. I don't know if anybody else has had that problem, but I'm kind of was kind of disappointed with that. So yeah, these were just some recent additions that I got. I did replace a couple of the houseplants I lost, but other ones I'm just like, do I really need a calathea in my collection? You know, like I just, when they're that big of a hassle sometimes. But yeah. So to wrap up this video, where are we going? Well, we're just gonna stay on the same path that we were on. I do have some videos already filmed that are in the queue, and I will get those edited, or I should say my spouse will get those edited, and I will release those when it comes time for them to be put out. So also, if you guys notice in some of these videos, you'll see my old background in my old house. It's because I've already filmed them. So don't let that throw you off. It's just, I had to do a little pre-recording because I knew that there were certain plants I wasn't going to keep during the move, so I tried to record those ahead of time. What else? I think that's about it. You might notice the background here will be a little bit different because I'm trying to find exactly where I want to film. This isn't bad, I guess. I'm sitting at my kitchen island right here, so I didn't really want to keep breaking out my little disposable table because it's kind of a hassle, but maybe I can figure something out as we go along. But I do want to apologize sincerely that I did kind of leave you guys hanging. I know that everybody was probably busy with the holidays anyway, but I should have kept in better touch. I just had a lot going on. But I love our new house. It's amazing. I'm so lucky and so blessed that we got this place. And it's been a lot of fun. And it's been a lot of fun getting to relax, finally. So thank you guys for sticking with me. Thank you for the comments that you have left. I know somebody in particular was asking where I was. I'm here, don't worry. But yeah, we're gonna get back into this. I'm probably gonna do 2 videos a week for a while. And if I can kind of get things straightened out at work a little bit more, I might go back up to 3. But for now, let's just do 2 just to get rolling again. So I think that's it. I'm cutting this off. This video is too long already. So thank you guys again. I look forward to seeing you soon. I've got more videos coming. And thank you for the likes and subscribes. And I will talk to you soon. Thank you.